proclamation, but very little action. But of course, we're talking about the geographical Europe, which, if my geography lessons teach me right, goes up to the Urals. So a significant part of Russia is part of Europe. And of course, talking about leaders, you've got a situation now where Angela Merkel and Putin can choose whether they speak to each other in German or in Russian. So it might be quite useful to have the Russian perspective.
Thank you. And first of all, I have to thank Lord Saatchi for the invitation, rather unexpected invitation, and his belief in my English, because I'll try to make my speech understandable. But anyway, I hope you will understand it. First of all, I'm honored to be on such a panel, on such a conference, with such a distinguished panelist and a very professional audience, but the thing is that I'm not a professional. I'm not a political professional. I'm a businessman, and I'm a businessman myself, but also I represent the interests of businessmen, and not only Russian investors into Russian economy, but also foreign investors. I have to protect their rights. We had like a joint venture with President of Russia, because we have a problem, a mutual problem, which we all face, the problem of administrative pressure, bureaucratical corruption pressure on business, and we decided he gave us power, state power, and we gave him skills of management. So we decided to do this institution, which is called the Presidential Commissioner for Entrepreneurs' Rights in Russia. I'm running the office for 5 years. Since that time, I don't think that we had a breakthrough, but maybe a little bit the situation changes. At least we had a big problem with IKEA in Moscow, and IKEA, the big Swedish company, and we finally settled it. So some wins we have already. And from my point of view, and I will express the point of view of, first of all, businessmen, the challenges which confront the world now, we haven't heard yet in today's conference. The main challenge which we see, and it's an opportunity but big risk as well, it's the new technological revolution which we all face and will face very fast. First of all, and it's not just change of technologies, some technologies. I think it's a main change of even economical social society of the world. Because, for example, big data analysis gives a way to so-called prognostic economy, which is somewhere in between. It's not free market anymore, it's more a planning market. So competition will give way for, at least some way, for planning instead of producing a lot of goods for the market and see who's the best, and the rest should go. Also, blockchain, complete change in governance. The governments have to be changed. They should be smaller and more efficient. Blockchain is a huge change in the whole world, I can say. Cryptocurrencies, of course, they will definitely and drastically change the financial systems, because you can't, confront them anymore. They're already in our life, and they're spreading, and nobody can put an end to that. Also, qubit-based processor, the Internet of Machines, Dr. Kissinger touched this, but on a very small scale. Biotechnology, they all put before mankind global problems, employment, governance, and wealth. So, for example, blockchain society already puts on the table the question of new international government. World's government, already they talk about that. For Russia, is of course a special challenges. The most important, one of the most important is the again, a revolution, technological energy revolution. And in that sense, we all understand with the new technologies, like, and we all know shale oil, but we don't really understand that there is much more alternatives, like methane hydrates on the shelf. We also, even now, are going for a new technology like atmospheric electricity, which is on the way and should be very soon here. And of course, this gives a trend that the oil prices, energy prices will go down. And Russia faces this challenge. And now we have a big debate in Russia. We have, like we call it, a strategy battle. We have two main expert centers, think tanks working on the strategy. The president asked us both to do that. The first one is Mr. Kudrin, I think well-known ex-minister of finance and the deputy prime minister for growth in Russia. And the other one is called Stolypin Club, which I'm the chairman. The difference is mostly in Kudrin, let's continue with the previous politics, economical politics, which makes, most of all, it's the financial consolidation. We bring the inflation down, and then everything will be growing. You have to have macroeconomical stability, and then everything will come. And our politics is, yes, you're right, this worked when the prices for oil were high, when the incomes were guaranteed, but now it doesn't. Now we have to find the way how to get more money from other fields, from other sectors. We have to diversify. And for that, we need new politics. And first of all, financial politics, like we call it, we see it in the West, QE, quantitative easing. The West changed, so we have to change as well. And we have to stimulate investment, Russian investment in industrial sectors, IT sectors, agriculture, and Western and Chinese foreign investment in those sectors, because every company coming and investing in Russia is a Russian company. So the debate is there. We debate on conference, public, in SMEs, in the press. We debate at the table, at the desk of Mr. Putin. We have two big meetings when we expressed our opinions. And I can say that we are coming to, we are finding the way. But one thing we have in common, the main thing, we have many things in common, but we have the main thing in common with Kudrin. We all think that the future of Russia is democracy, market economy, the competition, and the rule of law. And in that sense, there's no discussion in Russia. No discussion. I strongly oppose the previous panelists by saying Russia is a threat, which is a new ideology, which is threatening, attacking the Western world. I can say complete, sorry to say that, nonsense. Russia is a democratic way of thinking, which was not attacking. It's in defense. It's choosing the way, but it's in defense. You look how many times their interests were neglected, starting from Chechnya, from the NATO expansion, then Serbia. I can say Russia is a partner if even, I don't say interests are respected, Russian interests are respected. The Russian opinion is respected. You have to hear Russia to make Russia talk together with the West. So in that sense, I can say that we face now, we have to, I agree fully with Lord Richardson that we have to divide the strategies and the tactics. All our rows, it's called, scandals or fights, little fights, even with the question of Syria, Iraq, even the ISIS in general. And of course, our small routes, I've forgotten the route. between Russia and the West, we call it like a little scandal inside the communal kitchen. You know what? In Russia, during the Soviet times, there were big apartments, many people, families living in one, having all the bedrooms, but they had only one communal kitchen for everybody. So from time to time, they have scandals. But so we call them tactical scandals, tactical routes. We have to think strategically. And strategic now, in that sense, to my opinion, I think business opinion is, the problem is that we are divided with the third world. It's not only mentality, religion, ideology, it's the standard of living, first of all. We have to, from giving gifts to them, we have to go for a very strategic, systematic policies towards the third world. We have to, and two main ways is infrastructure and working places. And not working places here, working places there. Look what China does now with the Silkway, the economical zone of Silkway. They are investing, and not government money, not the state money. They stimulate private companies to invest in projects not only in Asia or Far East, in Africa. Silkway is everywhere. It's not only on the way between China and Europe, it's everywhere. And they want to promote infrastructure. They are doing infrastructure there, and they create working places. That's the way we all have to go. We have to, sorry to be so long, but anyway, finalizing my long speech, Lord Sachi was right. I'm doing well with English.
Okay. That's it.
So I can say that we have to go and take the practice of Churchill and Roosevelt. Even we have discrepancies, we have problems between each other, they found the way to make alliances with even Soviet Union. You can't compare Soviet Union and Russia today. Completely different countries. And it was more difficult for them than for today's governments to find a way to make alliances and allies. And there's a special word in Russian which is called, it's not союз, it's союзничество, alignment against the global threat. So I think that we should have to not to show ego now today of every country, but to show wisdom. Thank you.